Welcome to my house. I am Frumpy Buckle, and we're fishing with Uncle Buck today, and we're out with another episode of the bait shop. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff tonight. Hopefully we can squeeze it all in a half an hour or so. Let's see. Let's make sure we got everything right over here, Buck. Okay, that's good. Got the new email up. It's scrolling across the bottom there for you guys who want to get a hold of it. You can get a hold of me. You can get a hold of me down there. Frumpybuckle at protonmail.com. Had a good comment this week. Brian Carlin. Brian, great comment. Thanks for subscribing. Brian made a comment on, I was doing the deep water fishing video there, and I hope he watched it through the whole end of the video and got the answer there. But I'd made note about fishing that deep water, how you got to make sure you allow for the deepness of that water, 40 foot. You got to throw it out there farther, and it's kind of tough in this game. And the reason it's tough in this game, and he brought a good point up, and I did mention it, how I fish close to the boat where we reel it down. But you can also compensate for that deep water drop, and he brings up a good point, and I do use that, and he uses it. Brian uses that same technique on the same lake that I do out there now, Alberta, because it's real deep out there too. And if you want to fish that deep and a little bit far away from yourself, but in real life you've got, well, I got a little tiny one here. You got your bail, and you open that up and hold it with your finger when you throw, and you leave the bail open, and that lure will fall where it's at, and it'll take what line off it needs. So that pendulum that I talked about's not there. If the bail's closed, now the line can't pull out, the pendulum's there. And Fishing Planet automatically closes your bail when you throw it out. However, you can, just like we did the procedure that we did alongside of the boat, where we just reeled it backwards, you can do the same thing once it gets out and it hits the water. Now the problem with Fishing Planet and that thing, it's not really like opening a bail, because it doesn't matter what weight lure you have on there, you can only backline so fast. So you get a little bit of relief from it, but it's not true to life, because if you're throwing a heavy lure, it's going to sink a lot faster than you can. We should just have a button where we can close and open the bail ourselves. So you can throw it out there, leave the bail open, and close it when you want to. That would be the way to do it. Not have to, wind the wheel in reverse. That's a little, I don't know of any fishing rod that does that, where you can wind it backwards. Anyway, so Brian, good point, good question. Again, thanks for subscribing, buddy. All right. And we talked about the deep water and all that thing. Now let's talk about some things. Now I've been out there. We've been down in Maku for, I think I ended up doing 11 or 12 days. I'm still there, actually. I'm on day 12. I'm looking at it right now. It's goofy. Day 12, I'm looking at it. And all I'm doing is, I got a couple of uni Byaras and one more Pyara to catch to get the fish tooth hook that we need for that mission. So we'll still be there for a little bit. Probably this weekend it'll take me to get the rest of them done, and then I'll be back with those videos there, and hopefully that'll help us. I don't know. This one could be. This is like catching those 5. Where was that at that we had? I think it was at Selenge, where you had to catch the 5 uni graylings. That took a while, and we got 10 and 5 here, 15 to get on this one. So it ain't no easy task now, is it, guys? Those of you that have done it, it isn't, and I'm in the middle of it. I don't know, but you get these guys that do these fishing tournaments. Somehow they know how to catch 10 unis in 2 hours. Man, I'm going to learn that trick someday. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about what we did down there. Let's talk about the baits that we took when we went down there. let's go ahead and get Mike. Good evening, Buck. Hey, I'm Mike. How you doing, Mike? Thank you again. Oh yeah, I sent Mike that, and for you other guys, I sent Mike off the lake guide there. I don't have that lake guide up. Where's mine? No, I don't know where it is now. I'm not going to pester with it at the moment. Yeah, you can send me a, if you want to get a hold of my lake guide, like I explained in last week's show, where I have, it's really a nice tool to have. You can have it up on some other device that you may have. It's in PDF form. I can email it to you. I sent it off to Mike. I guess Mike, you liked it pretty good then. Oh, they're excellent. He said, okay. Thanks a lot. Yeah, it helps a lot while you're in this game fishing. I mean, you can get this information all over the place. It's, I didn't invent anything. I just went out there and collected it all, put it in one place. It makes it nice and easy. For me, it does anyway, and I guess Mike likes it too. So give me an email there, and I'll send you a copy of that. It's one of those, it's my Christmas gift to my subscribers. You get it for free. It's my DLC. Let's put it that way. It's Frumpy Buckle's first DLC. Send me an email. I'll send you a little downloadable content, and it's free. You don't have to pay for it for Fishing Planet. For my subscribers, not a problem. And it's for every lake. What I have right now, the massive one, and it's it's a PDF. It's about 50 pages, but it goes pretty nice in an email. All right, so let's get. I'm going to get this all geared up here for me while I'm bull, with you guys. I'm going to get my next little thing going on here, because what we're going to do is we're going to talk about. I want to talk about. Oh, let's do that. Yeah. Let's talk about that first. The what was it? Mission lures. Oh, the mission lures that that you actually needed for down there. Let me get Frumpy Buckle out of the way there, huh? There we go. It was basically I fished with two lures, a walker and a buzzbait, and thanks to Spidey for that buzzbait deal. I was out there throwing that walker, and I was hitting them pretty good with the walker, but there would come a time when even the walker wouldn't hit and the live wouldn't hit. And I was talking to a guy, he's level 80, and actually 80 49 times over. I don't know what you get that. I don't even have one of them. I'm not to level 80 yet, but he was an 80 49. I call him, and he was slaying them, like I said. Well, I was catching a lot of uni panfish and trophies, and he was catching uni BIRs and PIRs all over the place. And so we started chatting a little bit. And he said buzzbait with a rattlesnake on it. So I'm going to say that I put that buzzbait and rattlesnake. Let's talk about that one now. That when nothing else was sitting, and I'm a little bit slow here, so I'm going to drag my words out until I get everything right here. Where is my? Okay. We want to close that down. We want to get that. Okay, so we'll get rid of that guy over there. There we go. And now we're going to do this guy here. There we are. And then we're going to talk about where is that? There he is. There. And how about we do that? And I forgot to do this. There we go. That buzzbait. All right, guys. Typical buzzbait. Now you would think, and I fish with these buzzbaits all the time, and the propellers on the top cut through the water, and they make turbulence on top of the water. They're a great surface lure. However, when those walkers aren't hitting, well, this buzzbait, the way it's normally worked, it's worked on the surface. Well, you do a little bit of addition, a little bit of, I don't know what you would call it there. We're going to add a little something to it, all right? That makes it really kind of nice. You add that rattlesnake worm to it. Now that rattlesnake worm, what you you want to remember about that guy. The rattlesnake worm, he is a 4-inch worm, okay? That's 4-inch worm, 10 centimeters. You can work him with a 2/0 to 5/0 hook, and that's all you can work that worm with. But you run him on that buzz bait right there, which works rather nicely, and work it off the bottom. I worked that thing off the bottom, and on the days when nothing was hitting and the live bait wasn't hitting and the surface walker wasn't hitting, this guy was. So you kept catching fish. I kept catching fish. Different part of the water column though. Completely different part of the water column. And that's a nice thing to know when you're out there, especially when you get those couple of hours there where it's brutal. It's killer for you. And you know, what the hell, I'm throwing everything at this thing and I can't catch the damn thing. Well, go to the bottom, change the water column, change your baits up. Don't sit too long on a hole. You know there are fish in there, and you've caught them on that bait before. Don't sit there with that bait if it's not hitting. If you don't get a hit within 4 or 5 minutes game time, they're not going to hit on that shit. Get something else out there. So those are the two. Other than, like I said, our live baits. Do I have that even? Do I have that? What did we take with us there? I just had that for the catfish for the last mission, so I don't have all them programmed in to pull up any of them. But you get them lures out there and work the water column. Surface lures for a while, and if it don't work, drop down to the bottom of them buzz baits with a rattlesnake on it. All right, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the top 10 all-time freshwater fishing baits. And I'm talking about in real life. And we have 9 of those 10 baits in Fishing Planet that we can fish with. And that's something that you should have in your tackle box all the time. You should always have these baits, and because we have them in the game. And let's talk about it. I'm going to put this little notebook of mine here away. I'm going to grab my other little notebook that I got out here. I'm going to talk a little bit about these baits since I've thrown up. I want to talk to them about. All right, let's talk about the number one go-to bait, night crawlers. I don't care what you're fishing for. There's not a fish out there, and I don't care what they are really in the right condition in that environment. They won't need a night crawler. I don't care. They eat worms. they love the night crawlers. All right. The other one, and night crawlers, it's easy to get a hold of these guys. Now, you go to the bait shop, you can buy them in any local bait shop while you're over there. If you get on any of your waterways over there, you can pick these night crawlers up. I don't know, they're like $3 or something for a dozen of them. But, I mean, if you're into fishing and you got a couple of hunks of rebar and an old car battery with some jumper cables, pound them in about 3 or 4 feet apart, 8 to 10 inches down, slap the jumper cables on them 2 rebar things and just rip yourself a can. It's only going to take a couple of not even minutes before they're just coming to you. They're right up out of the ground. You just pick them up, throw them in your can. You're ready to go for the next day. So that's something you can do there. Not a problem there. The second one. What else? Well, let's talk about this guy for a minute. The crayfish. Crayfish, you can grab these guys up by yourself. That's one of the things I want to talk about was a lot of these baits you can harvest yourself. You don't have to pay for them. Crawfish, crayfish, you can get them in the streams that you're fishing. If you're stream fishing, always take a seine with you. Have a seine in your vehicle. When you get there, you can get grasshoppers and stuff with a butterfly net walking along the bank for a little bit. Get the bait, the insects that are local to that area that you're fishing, and that's what those fish are going to hit on because that's what they eat. That's what comes from where they're at, where they live. So if you can get them, you can snatch up some hell, a couple of minutes with a butterfly net. You just take that butterfly net right across the top of the weeds, anywhere along that bank, you're going to catch some grasshoppers. All right, what's the next one that we want to talk about? Oh, small minnows. Again, great deal. Now, the small minnows and the common minnows, either one. Again, you can seine for them. We have those. This is our bait that we have in Fishing Planet. It's a universal bait. And these guys, there's so many ways to rig them up to fish them. You can hook them through the lips. They've got long ways that you can run a little rail down through them and hook a treble hook or a double hook on the ass end of them. And, you can have a lot of success in some of the lakes around here in Pennsylvania. You take a mini and hook him up on a jig head and get him down there, presentation a little deeper, and snatch up on a lot of perch and bass that way. Put a mini on a jig head. Okay, what's our next guy in line? That's probably going to be this guy. Now, this guy, you can fish him with a lot. Now, it's a little bit dark with the black screen there, but then, we're talking about leeches, catfish, leeches. They're dark colored, so they show up good in the waters. The wiggle move that they do just attract fish, bass, and all kind of fish will hit on a leech. So great bait to have in your arsenal there. All right, what's the next guy I want to talk about? Oh, these here. Now, we actually fish for this. It's not a bait in Fishing Planet. It's a fish that we have to go after. It's where's it at? I think it's American blue crab, maybe the American. It's not on one of the missions, but it is one of the fish. I think it's blue crab. It's the American gizzard shad. That fish is. You can use that bait. It's great for trophy striper bass. We'll hit on this. Catfish will hit on that. It's a good bait. It's a good bait to have when you're out there and about. Now, let's get down to some of the other ones here real quick. Your millworms. Millworms is a go-to for any of your panfish, your small fish, your trout. Can't go wrong with some millworms. What's another good one here? Let's talk about salmon eggs. All right. I don't know why that thing won't go down. I can't see on my screen over here. There we go. Now I can see all of it. Okay, so salmon eggs. Now, that's more for your trout fishing, of course, but any of your trouts, your chars of that nature, salmon eggs, great bait to have. And what else we got here? Oh, let's turn it on first before we do it. The wax worms. Universal there. Great bait to have for the wax worms. What do they say here in my little book here? The caterpillar larva of wax worms. Very tiny but very potent. That's my background look up on the wax worms and why they made that list. I fish with millworms more than I fish with waxworms, to tell you the truth, in real life. I don't do a lot of the waxworms. Millworms, though, killers. Great bait. All right, let's look at, this one here. My go-to, gotta love this guy. And in Fishing Planet, this is a great bait, especially down at Maku Maku right there. I caught every fish in the first two missions, explorations on crickets. Great bait there. So can't go wrong with those guys, and they're cheap. And you can grab them, grow them, but that's a great bait to have. And of course, another great one is to head off number 10. There is the shiner. We fish for them, the golden shiner, the black-tailed shiner, and we have shiners for bait in this game. And it's one of the, it makes the top 10 freshwater baits. All right, what are we at? Holy smokes, we're already at 7:25. Alright, let's go back here. I gotta get this all set up the right way, okay? So if I take that off of there, and I put that on there, watch what that, oh no, you're not gonna get this right, Buck. I know you're not. Everybody's already looking at you going, here he goes. He's gonna mess this up for sure. And I probably will, but I gotta figure out a way to do this automatically. I got too many of these damn pictures on it. Alright, let's see what happens there. Alright, hey, come there. Uh-oh. But now my clock's broke. See my clock on my wall? It's broke now. So, I know I have that fixed somewhere here. Where is my clock? Ah, there it is. Now it's working. Oh, and I'm over here on this camera now. Let's see. Let's get my book out. I want to get my checklist out. If we talked about everything I want to get, I rattled my brain off every day. Yep, we talked about how to hunt night crawlers, harvesting or anything. Oh, and to finish up that harvesting about that, you pick up rocks along the edge of it, where you're at it, whether it's a pond, a lake, a stream, a reservoir. Get there. I mean, if you're going fishing, get there early. Don't just tromp your ass down into the water and start splashing around and throwing shit in the water. Assess where you're at. Look at the waterway. Watch the activity on the surface. You can see bait fish jumping out of the water. You can see activity. You can see where the game fish might be. Study it. Take a look. Lift a few rocks up. Salamanders are one of the great. I mean, that's like candy to bass, pike. Those guys. Pick up a few rocks and have yourself a few salamanders while you're walking around there. Hellgrammites are out there. Like I said, the grasshoppers, any of the type of bugs you can get around that waterway is going to help you out. Help you out tremendously. And you got to have, if you want to be a good, proficient fisher person, you can't just rely on artificial lures all the time to bring home the bacon. Yeah, it's a quick way to cover a lot of water and nab up some big fish fast. But if you're fishing to feed yourself, you got to be proficient at all the different tactics. You got to be able to learn how to hook up live bait and throw that stuff out there. And that live bait presented properly in the right conditions, you'll catch some monsters, guys. You'll catch some monsters. Well, we didn't even get over to the game at all today. I was going to talk about, I'm going through my notepad here. I was going to talk about the greatest lures of all time. There's a list out there which is Field and Stream ranked them. Actually, the 15 greatest lures of all time, and we actually have quite a few of them in our arsenal in Fishing Planet. They rank the red and white daredevil, the spoon. That daredevil is one of the best of all time. The flat spoon that we have. Now we have the blue and the bronze. They actually rank the blue one in the top 15 of all time. And of course you got your grub with a jig head. What else is in their list? The frog. We have the frog. That's on their top 15 list. We have the jitterbug. We have the popper. We have a popper. Poppers is one of the ones in there. Now one that we don't have, I guess we have something similar to it, would be that minnow. What do they call it in our Fishing Planet? I can't remember what it's called. But it's a minnow lure. Hunchback or something like that. But it mimics the Rapala. If you guys remember the old Rapala, 6-inch Rapala floater with the triple treble hooks on it. Silver and black. All-time one. Favorite. I mean, that's a slayer. You slay fish with that. The worm. 5-6-inch worm. We have a plethora of worms in the game. 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches, all kinds of colors, yellows, purples, black, the X series, black and white. You got the rattlesnake worm, purple, yellow, acid green. We have pearl, That's where don't disregard the worm when you're fishing out there. The worm was around before any of this other stuff was. Remember that. All right, guys, that looks like that's our show here for this week. I covered a good bit of it. Remember, send me an email, frumpybuckle@protonmail.com. I'll send you a copy of my lake guide if you want it. I think it helps a lot when you're out there fishing. You don't have to bounce back and forth so much. All right, guys. Tight lines, remember, never, ever give up the fight. I want to thank you. What's next week? Do we have time for one more next week before the holidays? Yeah. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.